is why we play the game, okay? Connor McDavid, 2-year extension, $12.5 million AAV. It just dropped. This is instant reaction. For those that watch the tier list, I left a comment there that we're going to have a reaction video coming because we talk in that video about how it's weird that he hasn't signed. This leaves so many questions, though, but let's at least first start with instant thoughts from you guys. Once seeing the number, once seeing the year, seeing it all trickle in.
Well, first of all, is anyone else just like a little disappointed that they thought this was going to drag on the whole season and be this like one crazy storyline that we're going to talk about, and now it's just like day before the season starts? Oh, okay, you're just going to stay in Edmonton. And then the 7,000-pound elephant in the room, $12.5 million AAV.
Just 7,000 pounds?
How big
is that? How much elephants weigh?
How heavy is an
elephants are pretty big. Yeah,
that,
while
dude,
I look this
pretty
up,
heavy.
keep explaining your point while I look up how heavy an elephant is.
It's so embarrassing if I'm like way off on that. Anyways, Connor McDavid, 2 years, $12.5 million. When he signed, we were all kind of saying, okay, how much do you think it's going to be? Because that obviously didn't come out. The journey continues. Is that what he says?
Yeah.
The journey continues.
My journey continues here or something.
I thought it was going to be 20
I think it was
minutes.
our journey continues. It wasn't even mine. Yeah. It was,
our journey continues. I thought it was going to be a $20 million journey per
year.
Max term. Like 12.5 was a crazy number.
Yes, but you know what? Obviously it's crazy, but just saying, I don't think Connor McDavid's hurting for money.
He's got a heated driveway, so.
Well, yeah. I mean, he also lives in Edmonton, which is a relatively affordable city. He's making so much money as is. He's already made so much money. At this point in Connor McDavid's career, I think this more than anything is just an indication that not winning has really weighed on him, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to win. And like, look at what they did right after. They ended up signing Wallman. So like, this was a move that was made to correspond with other moves that the team is going to make. I think you talk about disappointment. It will be the biggest disappointment. Maybe it will be one of the most disappointing eras in league history if McDavid doesn't manage to win a Stanley Cup in the next 3 years. And I think from his perspective, he knows how close they were. He's, from an Oilers, if you're an Oilers fan, even though it's not a long-term deal and you're already thinking, is he going to leave it after the next couple of years? Just enjoy the next 3 years. You have the best player in the world who has stuck around, clearly has shown that he wants to win. I personally think this is just a win-win situation for everyone involved in the deal, except for all the other teams in the NHL and other players that might be searching for new contracts. Because while you can use Kaprizov, I don't know, as a bargaining chip, like, did McDavid kind of just bring the pool down a little in a bizarre way?
He may have. There's definitely a couple ways to look at this. So the one is that optimistic view, and I feel like people have said it, like Chris Johnson said it, Rashad said it, of like, this is McDavid's commitment to winning. And it's the Nathan McKinnon page out of his playbook. You take a little less, allow the team to build around you. And then there's the less optimistic viewpoint of it where you mentioned it. It's like Oilers fans are already looking, and not even just Oilers fans, I'm sure Leafs fans are already looking to head to 2 years from now when not only he, but also Austin Matthews, funny enough, who they have the same agent, both UFAs in 2028, which is just another kind of interesting piece to this puzzle. But that's the less optimistic view from Oilers fans of like, all right, we have 2 years to win, and then the window's over. Like, he's going to leave. He hasn't committed to us long term. Do you have a feeling, and I know it's so early to actually ask this, but both of you, do you guys have a feeling of, like, what side of the fence you lean on? Are you more optimistic that this is just his way of being like, the next 2 years, I'll take a little bit of a pay cut. In 2 years' time, cap's going to go up. I'm going to ask for more money. That's fine, whatever, but I'm going to stay here? Or is this like this is my 2-year window and I'm done after this? Where do you kind of lean on in terms of that argument that I feel like a lot of people are probably having in reaction to this?
Yeah, I think the debate it's been going on in my head is like, am I more surprised by $12.5 million or am I more surprised by only 2 years? Mm-hmm. Especially at the age of 28, 29, where it's like you can sign one long contract. Not like McDavid's going anywhere. Crosby's, almost 40 and he's still amazing. And I think we all see McDavid as a similar player that's going to be good forever kind of thing. But it's just like you talk all summer about how this is a big decision. It's committing to my future. And then, well, it's only a 2-year deal. It kind of leaves us a little bit like, okay, like, are we just going to go through all this again? But at the same time, it's in his right. He's now giving the Oilers an extended window. He says, okay, I feel like we're close. Let's revisit it in 2 years and see where we are. And like you said, Jesse, like he's not hurting for money. He's fine. And
he also has so many
anything,
sponsorship deals.
The way the greater his legacy grows, the more money is honestly available to him through brand deals.
Absolutely.
And just like being a legend that hangs around the game. He will regardless. But if you win 3 Stanley Cups, you're forever, when you're 70 years old, you're going to be making millions of dollars just being around the game and media and everything.
That guy's never going to hurt for money.
Yeah.
Neither will his family for centuries. I mean, ever, maybe. I think in regards to what you were saying, Pac, about what you're more surprised about in terms of the 2-year deal or how much he took, I think, like, personally, I'm way more surprised with the AAV. Like, the short-term deal isn't really surprising to me. Like, it again, the cap is going up. He probably just wants to see what happens with the Oilers in the next couple of years. Are they capable of winning it? Because he's going to find out in the next couple of years. Like, is this team, are they capable of getting it done? It's like they've gone to the. I know we all probably think that they are capable of getting it done, but even on a short-term deal, like $12.5 million, that's the same amount of money that he was making on his last contract. Like, that's insane to think about. We're going to be seeing players who are not close to as good as Connor McDavid making more money than that next summer. So I think from McDavid's perspective, again, like, it is the winning approach. He's so eager to win, and I just can't wait until him and Austin Matthews both choose to become Winnipeg Jets in 2 summers from now.
July 1st, 2028.
3 summers from now, sorry. Yeah.
That's going to be insane.
Yeah.
I think there's so many different ways you can look at all of this. It's so fascinating. The part that I'm kind of hung up on that's been interesting is, like, McDavid is putting a lot of trust in this Oilers management group to win. And I don't know how much trust they deserve, truthfully. Based on the moves that they've made, rounding out the roster, some of the contracts they've given out, I think we've all looked at their rosters and been like, yeah, McDavid and Draisaitl can carry this team to a Cup final, can carry this team to a Game 7 of the Cup final. They've done that in the past. They've gone to 2 Stanley Cup finals. But the kind of complementary pieces that they've brought in and the moves around them have been criticized. The Broberg contract in particular and the Holloway RFA ones, that they let 2 important pieces go for absolutely nothing. You have a lot of money to play with next summer now, but what does that money turn into is the ultimate question. T.S. Ekholm is up next year, so that's one that you probably want to get done given how well Evan Bouchard has played, especially with him, but he's getting up there in age, so how much do you commit to him? Obviously, there are a lot of freaky agent pieces that are going to fall between now and then. There are trades that can give you flexibility, but I guess my question to you guys is, how much do you trust this Oilers management group to actually put the pieces around them in definitely the harder of the 2 conferences to win, right? When we look at, like, the conference that they're playing in, it's not just a guarantee because they have McDavid and Draisaitl that they're going to be in the Cup final every time. You're going to be competitive for sure, but I guess, are they taking this for granted, and how do they not do that, and do you trust them not to do that?
Trust is an interesting word because, like, I think Draisaitl being there, that's your best chance to win, regardless of some poor moves that the Oilers may have made in recent years or some hefty contract. Like, even today, they signed McDavid. Everyone's saying, okay, it's going to be $20 million because Kaprizov just signed for 17. It comes out that it's 12.5, and you're like, oh my goodness, what an incredible move from the Oilers. McDavid, how great of him to take a hometown discount. And then Wallman comes out 7x7 right after. And it's like, Jake Wallman's a good player. He looked really good throughout the playoffs. This guy was like not a buyout, but like...
He was cap
Eisenman, he was a cap casualty a year ago. Yeah, so it's just like, do I love the Wallman move? I like Wallman being on the Oilers. I like the idea of that. 7x7 for a guy who's approaching 30 years old. It just seems like right away the Oilers are like, okay, are you just going to... Is this how you're going to spend all your money? The goaltending is still such a question mark. Some of the, like you said, Holloway, Broberg, like those things sting. I think Isaac Howard coming in this year will be this great
huge
breath of fresh air that they
also
need.
Matt Savoy who should, like, that's the thing. Like, they have made some pretty questionable moves to Oilers, but they also, there's reason to be excited about some other pieces around McDavid. Mm-hmm. And finally, like, for the first time, like, because once they lose Holloway and Broberg, you're like, oh man, like, this stinks. The Oilers just, they get Skinner, they get Arvidsson. Like, there's not really much going on outside. of their two studs. Obviously, they still have Nugent Hopkins and some other pieces up front. But
Hyman's also on a great deal.
Hyman, yeah, and Hyman, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, now you look at guys like Howard and Savoy, and if those guys mature well, have good years this year, and then mature even more next year, like that's when you start to look at like this is a window where those players are going to be very important
and very cheap too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
At the beginning, especially, and maybe in this like 2-year window when they're at their cheapest, that's kind of when you load up and take more risks on other players. The risks that they've taken haven't always worked out, but I guess they have spent the money at least. I mean, I don't know how much of a consolation that is. The goaltending one is an interesting one for the future because both guys are UFAs at the end of next season. So you may have a completely different goaltending room as McDavid's extension kicks in. I don't know what the free agent kind of crop looks like next summer for goalies, but I'm sure they're going to leave no stone unturned, especially if their season is once again disrupted and ultimately ended by the play in net, and even on the back end to a similar extent, I would say. So that's kind of interesting for sure. I don't know how much trust I have in management and building around them, but like you said, it kind of is the best case scenario short of him joining the Avalanche or joining the Stars, right?
Which seems unrealistic.
Seems
right?
unrealistic. Unless he was willing to take that kind of money there and in a different place and maybe even a little less than $12.5 million, which if McDavid said he wants to go to Dallas or Colorado, there's a way that they'll make it work, right?
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's not just a slam dunk kind of thing. If you're playing with the fourth best player in the world, the top 4 player in the world, you always have a great chance of winning. The next question about all of this is, you kind of alluded to it. What does this make the landscape of the league look like going forward? Because I feel like in an age where contracts are kind of criticized a lot more, and these ones don't help that for players, like Marner signing. He's making 12 this year.
Yeah.
He's making $500,000 less than the best player in the world. Kaprizov's making $5.5 million more than, or $4.5 million more than the best player in the world. What do you think this does for, I guess, the salary cap as a whole, contract negotiations going forward, and the landscape of what that looks like for star players now negotiating new deals?
It's a great question. It's a great thing to kind of monitor, as especially with all the stars that are set to hit the market and with the cap going up. I honestly think this is just a one-off anomaly, and my first thought was comparing it to Sidney Crosby. Okay, so Sidney Crosby's made $8.7 million in the NHL since he was 21 years old. Okay, he signed 3 or 4 contracts on that term, but the one I want to focus on is the 12-year, $104 million contract that he signed in 2013-14. So when that happened, the salary cap in the league was $64.3 million. So his $8.7 million AAV was 13.5% of the salary cap. So one player is taking up 13% of the cap on your team. That was Crosby's. He was okay living with that and saying, I'm going to take a little bit less, leave some on the table, and make sure that this team can win cups. And he did win cups under that contract. Connor McDavid now, the projection for the salary cap league-wide, year one of this contract, year one of when this extension kicks in, is $95.5 million. He's making $12.5 million, which is 13% of the salary cap. So it's the exact same thing. He's essentially looking at Crosby as the best possible example of a guy being touted as this generational level talent, captain of Team Canada, scoring big goals, winning Stanley Cups, youngest captain to lift the Stanley Cup, and he's looking at him and saying, "What can I do that he did for his team to make sure that we win?"
I think that's
the magic number right there. It's 13%. He's not taking up any more than that in the cap.
I agree, but I think there's a bit of a difference. I think if McDavid had won 3 Stanley Cups already, or like a Stanley Cup, we might be looking at an entirely different scenario here where he is taking more money.
But that's exactly my point.
Yeah.
That's exactly my point, is that how did Crosby do it? How did Crosby do it? They had Malkin, they had Letang, they had Fleury, they had all these guys. He took less.
But he already won a cup, Crosby.
At that point, he did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he wanted to win. McDavid's at the point now. You're 30 years old. You just need to win one.
He's getting, like, I don't want to say desperate's the word, but like this, like he's getting older.
I think it's an appropriate word.
Yeah. He's getting a little desperate to win a cup. I think he's willing to do anything, and I think this was a really smart move by him. And in 3 years or whatever, he can leave and he'll sign a max deal somewhere else, and then really capitalize probably his value. But yeah, I am kind of in shock with the whole thing. And as in regards to other players, I do agree that it's a bit more of a one-off. I think agents are going to be looking at Kaprizov more than they are at McDavid. But then, like, an argument that teams can make is, okay, well, Connor did that because he wants to win. Don't you think that, Kyle Connor, shouldn't you take less money?
It's an interesting one for sure.
If you want to win over here. So, yeah, I don't know. It is an interesting situation, but I think both Kaprizov and McDavid situations are still both applicable to contract talks, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's an interesting point from a team perspective, being like, hey, this is what it takes to win, especially if the Oilers, let's say they do win 2 cups in the next 3 years somehow. It's going to be the perfect blueprint for the Leafs going to Austin Matthews during contract negotiations, let's say, or any team going to him during contract negotiations and saying, hey, you probably want to be the highest paid player in hockey. Look what McDavid just did, though, and look what it allowed them to build around him. Why don't you take a $5 million pay cut, sign a short-term deal, let's try and win in this next 2-year window, and then you can reset the market. Because I think that's the best of both worlds that McDavid now has, which is cool, where he can reset the market in 2 years and get his record-breaking deal that's never going to be touched, all the while taking a pay cut now, potentially winning 2 cups in this next window because it allows the Oilers to build around him how they maybe necessarily couldn't because of that extra $5 million per year that he gave up. So it really does kind of give the Oilers and him, I guess, the legacy-defining moments that he might be chasing. Like you said, though, nothing's kind of guaranteed, and that's why I do feel like it's desperate. Like, they've made the Cup final the last 2 years, but especially in a sport like hockey where parity is so evident.
It's not Warriors Cavs every year. It's just
it's not
how it works.
The fact that the Panthers have made 3 in a row is an anomaly. The fact that they've won 2 in a row is an anomaly. The fact that the Oilers got there twice in a row is an anomaly.
I think you could even argue that the Oilers probably weren't the favorites both years that they've gone to. Maybe last year, but
and I don't
honestly against Dallas, like people were like, Dallas they got Rantanen now, like.
And I don't think they're the favorite this year in the West either, given that the Vegas Golden Knights loaded up with Marner now. The Stars are just as good as they were last year, if not better. The Avs are still really good in the West. The Jets have Hellebuck. Like, it's the most competitive conference out of the two for sure. And year to year, so much changes. One injury is obviously all it takes for you to kind of fall out of a standing. But that is why I feel like he's desperate, and that was an appropriate word to use there.
Yeah. And one other, like, related to desperation, when is the last time an organization, a management team, has felt this much pressure to win? Like, I mean, I know the Leafs obviously feel a lot of pressure year in and year out just because they're the Leafs. They're a huge market. They could never really get past the first round, but imagine the amount of heat that's going on Oilers management right now when ownership's saying you got to get this done now. Like, this is our time to win. We got 3 years, and if we don't prove to Connor that we're a winning team, he's gone and we're losing our franchise player. It's a really just fascinating situation that happened today, and how and it's really kind of set the tone for like how crazy things are going to be in the NHL the next couple of years, specifically around the Oilers.
Yeah, you don't typically see these kind of short-term deals for the best player in the world. Yeah. It's not only short-term, but the money of it as well. And I know when McKinnon took a pay cut, it has a different feel when McDavid, the best player in the world, takes a pay cut.
Yeah.
And when that extension and that year came across all of our timelines, like, my jaw dropped. Like, I really could not believe that this was how this saga is ending for now, or we're putting a pause on this saga for the next 2. So we haven't seen, I don't think, anything in the NHL like this before.
First, I remember like following my X timeline, seeing like, Chris Johnson's saying that it's going to be under 15 million. And even then I was like, wow,
under 15.
Then it went to 14.
That's
like, it just kept going down.
Yeah, I was like scratching my head. I was like, what? And then I think Drager posted like sub 14, and I'm like,
and then Rashog tweeted like 2 years for 97, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, and then Johnson said 12, oh my goodness, like $12.5 million, and everyone's just like, what is going on right now?
I mean, our journey here continues.
Our journey here continues. The best contract in the world, in any sport probably that you could ever dream up. We'll see what the Oilers can do, but that is our instant reaction.
One more question I have for you guys.
Oh, okay. Here we go. I like it.
2-year extension. He's got 3 years left. He's still not 30 years old. If I were to set the line for McDavid's career, over under Stanley Cups, at 1.5. At this point, are you taking over under?
Over.
You think he's gonna win more than one?
Yeah, I do.
So tough.
I think other than the Jets, I think there's a good chance that he wins one this year.
What is the?
I think the Oilers will win this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just trying to
There's a
process
chance.
the fact that
the mental
the
math
Jets,
of that was good.
I was like, what are the Jets?
What are their chances of it?
It's like 50-50 between them. And the
Yeah,
Jets.
Okay,
yeah.
so the winner is coming from Western Canada.
Yes.
Is what we learned.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Also, on the topic of what we were talking about in terms of this deal being so good, I think I saw a tweet saying that like Cooper Flagg's like rookie entry level deal, he's making like $16.5 million.
This is backup quarterback money in the NFL.
It's absurd.
Crazy. I think he's going under. I think he's winning one, and
Rides off into the sunset.
it might just be like an Ovi thing. Like I don't know. It's so tough to win. I know it's probably a dumb way to look at it, but it's really tough to win. And the greats sometimes only win one.
If at all.
If at all.
Yeah.
If at all. He's an all-time great. This is going to be a contract and a moment in time that's remembered in the history of hockey forever. And I think that's all we got for our instant reactions. Like and subscribe. We got a lot more podcast-style videos coming throughout the season. So if you like this kind of content, appreciate the like, the subscribe, the comment, and let us know what you think of the contract and what your reaction was.